Now what we are going to do is to hold this light in place. We are going to put a screw at this point and at this point. We're going to be using 2 screws first. Let's do that now. One is in. Let's do the other one. You can see it's in place. Good. So now the next thing we are going to do is to take this reflector out so that we can get access to the inside. Let's do that. There's a screw right here which we need to lose. Okay, let's take it apart. Okay, now this is how the inside looks like. Don't be confused with the many wires. All what we need is just 2 things. We need the switch, which is right here, and we also need the input that takes in power, which is this. Okay, this is how it looks like. You can see it. And this is the switch. This is what we're going to be using. So we're going to try to use the wires, the same wires. We'll connect it to the light, then from the light straight to the input, which will be receiving the power to power the bulb. So let's do that right now. So let's cut the wires. This is the one for the switch. First of all, this one we're not going to cut this. Why? Because this one is already connected. This black wire is connected to this side, then it's connected straight to the input. So we're going to leave this, because if we are to cut this, we'll still have to join this wire to this black one. So let's leave it that way. So, but the one we are going to cut would be this one here. Let's cut this one. Good. So this is what we need. Good. So now the second wire which we are going to cut is going to be this red wire. Good. And this white one. I'm going to explain why. If you take a look at this input, you will notice it has 3 wires. It has a white, it has a red, and it has a black. So this black is going to be our negative. This red is going to be positive, and this other one is going to be for like maybe other functions. It can still also be used for positive depending on what other things you want to connect to it. Like for example, remember I told you the LED light which we are going to be using, it's a 2-way power light. So one will be connected to this white and the other one will be connected to this red, then the black one will be connected to this black one. So that's what we're going to do. So let's bring this one out here, and our switch, which is this, let's bring it out here. So now let's test it. So what we're going to do is to bring back our light. If you take a look at it, you will notice we have about 3 wires here. We have 3 wires here. We have a red, we have a white, and we have a black. So what we are going to do is to try to connect the black to the black. Okay, we're going to try to connect this switch and these inputs. We're going to try to connect it to this bulb. So let's do that now. This is a rough connection to make sure everything is working well before we move further. Good. So I've removed the lead from this one. So let's do that with the white one. Good. Now let's do that with the red one. Good. So now that's perfect. So what we're going to do is that this black wire, this is the light. This is the light wire. This black will be connected to this switch right here. This black one. Remember, this is a rough connection. Remember I told you the other part of this black wire of this switch is connected where? Is connected right to this black wire here, which is connected to this input. Remember. So now this red one for the LED, this one is going to be connected to the red wire of this our input. Let's do that. Remember, this is a rough connection just to make sure everything is working perfectly well. So we are going to be leaving this white one for now. Okay, so what we're going to use to test it to make sure it's working perfectly well, we need 2 things. We need an input. We need something to be able to pass power through this terminal. So what are we going to do? That is where this one comes in. This one will be connected right at this point. You can see it. So for it to work, we need to hook this 2 wire to a battery, to a source. So first of all, let's peel the lead and let's connect it to a battery. Good. So for you to know which one is positive or negative, most times if you take a look at this wire, there is no black or red. If you take a look at one of them, it has a white stripe and the other one is just purely black. The one with white stripe shows that this is a positive wire. In most cases, it has been so. First of all, let's plug it right here. Okay, then we'll get our battery source and test it. So our battery source is going to be a 3.7 volts battery DC. This is the battery we're going to be using. If you look clearly, it's stated here, not too clear. This is a 3.7 volt battery. Okay, so we're going to try to connect this white one, the one with the white stripe. So finally, we've connected the positive. Right now we're going to connect the negative. Remember, this black wire is coming from the input port, so we are going to connect it to the negative of the battery. Okay, moment of truth. Let's turn on the switch and see if it's going to light up. Wow, it did. Let's try once again. Wow, it's working perfectly well, but it's the colored light that is lighting for now, not the white one. And I noticed this white one won't work. So what we're going to do is to get another switch, so that we are going to connect one part of the switch to this positive, the other part of the switch to this part, to this white wire. What it's going to do is to on the white light on this LED, so that we can decide to both turn the lights together, or we can turn them on individually or separately, which is better for us, because you would not want to be using the both of them together at all time. You might decide you want to use the white one, or you might decide you want to use the colored one. So we are going to get another switch which will be connecting right here. So now let's still try it again. It's working perfectly well. So this rough connection is to help you see that everything is in place, everything is working perfectly well. Later on we're going to do a neat connection, but for now let's just do it roughly. So now we need to get a second switch which will be connecting here, so that we can both on the lights separately and we can both turn it on individually. So let's do that right now. So now this is the switch we're going to be using. Okay, so we're going to connect it right at this point, but I noticed that there is something we connected wrongly. We connected this switch at the wrong side, because one thing about DC power, we have the one which is, one of the wire is always having a constant power, while the second one is always at demand. So what happens is that, so the one at demand, that's where the one which has constant power, that's where we connected the switch. So most times when we turn on the switch or turn off the switch, it's going to cut out power. Thereby, if we were to connect this white one to this red one, it's not going to light up. So that is the problem. So what we're going to do is to remove the switch from this place, connect this black wire to this point here to have the constant flow of current. Then this switch is going to be positioned at this place. You see where we connect these two wires together? We are going to connect a switch there, so that it's going to collect power at demand. When you turn on the switch, it's going to have power. So let's do that right now. First of all, we disconnect this. Like I said, we're going to cut this one right here. Okay, we're going to remove the lead. And we're going to join this black one to this black one. You can see it is turning on right now. It has turned off. Okay, so if you connect these together, what will happen? It's going to light up. If you still connect this red wire to this white one, it's going to on the white one. So you can see what I'm talking about. So the switch we're going to be using, remember, it's two switch. One of them is going to be connected to this red, which is for the colored light, and to this black one. And if we turn this one on, it should put on the colored one. Let's do that. You can see that. Let's put it off. So now let's try to connect the white one, the white wire, let's connect it to this same point right here. Remember, this is rough work, but you need to be very careful. This is rough connection. You need to be careful so that wire doesn't breach together. So now, if you put on the switch, it should put on the white one. Let's try it out. Nice. So guys, we have our connection made. This one is for the colored one. Let's put it on so you can see. Okay, and this left one is for the white one, working perfectly well. So if we want to turn the two together, let's put on this colored one first, then this one, colored, and the white one. So everything is working perfectly well. So this is rough connection. We are going to take everything apart and connect them clearly and clean connection as possible, so that everything will be clean right there, so that in case it has problem, we'll be able to locate the issue as fast as possible. So guys, this is my part 2. You can go back to watch my part 1. There you will see how we started in creating this light box.